evening, race fans, and welcome in to another wonderful broadcast of iRacing live on Too Fast Racing. Yes, it's time for round number 5 of the 2023 Season 2 for the iRacing Penguin RC Simulations SIMCAR GrandAM Series. It's exciting. We're live from the virtual Suzuka circuit. I'm Trevor Greenfield, and I'll be joined in the booth tonight by none other than Racer here in the SIMCAR GrandAM Series. It's Alex Axman who joins me, and this is going to be so much fun here tonight. Alex, it's a track we're kind of all used to here with Suzuka. What can you tell us about Suzuka, and what can we look forward to tonight with the SIMCAR GrandAM Series?
Well, I think we're going to be looking for a lot of fun. It's going to be quite a riot. Definitely a lot of fast guys coming into this race, and a lot of points on the table. And I think everybody's excited to be out here on this legendary track.
It's absolutely legendary, without a doubt. Of course, I have so many great memories of Formula One being here, but of course, all of the Japanese series visit here, Super GT and all the rest. There you can see some of the stats for tonight. We're expecting pretty nice racing conditions. 78 degrees out there on the track, 55% humidity, just a very slight breeze of 2 miles per hour. So let's go ahead and now we'll take a look at the points as they come into round number 5 here. As we crank through the season, we're already getting a good deal through the season, already over halfway. So here you can see the GTP driver standings after 4 rounds, and you see at the top of the list there, Brandon Lambert holding down the top, not quite walking away with it, but a sizable margin over second place, Aaron Beaver, and then Blake Reynolds holding on to third. So that new Acura really showing well here in the new GTP standings, and of course, Brandon taking a couple of sprint wins as well as a feature win. You see Blake having taken more overall wins, but he did not race last time out. So, of course, that is always going to cost you a bunch of points. Now, we take a look over here at the GT3 Pro standings. This is at the top. It's Ray Kingsbury, and second place, Kevin Fanning. Third is Cody Cosgrove. And you can see their points there as well. Now we take a look over at the GT3 AM standings, and this has been a very interesting, championship so far. But Marwan Mofta has already opened up a 21-point advantage, and for those that know Marwan and his capabilities, he's been up there racing with the pro drivers. Very capable behind the wheel and really holding down the top of this championship. But Kevin Bogart right there in second place, Tim Brokaw in third, Gary Freeman Jr. in fourth place there. So, and Alex, we actually see you there in the standings. It's so fortunate that we have you here in the booth with us, but nevertheless, you'll bring some of that great expertise as these drivers head out there to get qualifying underway.
Yeah, absolutely. There's definitely going to be a lot to look at here in points. There's going to be definitely a good battle in pros. Obviously, the split is there, but they're not too far apart. The AM guys are definitely looking to make a move. Kevin Bogart, with this being his first season out here with, SIMCAR, he's definitely making moves, definitely putting the heat on some of these guys that have been around for a little bit. Tim Brokaw definitely looking to get up there as well. So a lot of fast guys in the pack. It's going to be definitely some really good racing for sure.
Well, and we take a look at these drivers who are headed out there to qualify right now in the GTP. Blake Reynolds putting in the fastest time, but no surprise there. Very speedy driver who has taken many wins, taken championships, and on his way out there tonight. Of course, it's great to have him back behind the wheel once again, as once again he had to miss last week's, or 2 weeks ago's race at the Motorland Aragon, but great to have him back. And as you can see, putting in the fast lap. Second right now, held on to by Brandon Lambert for the UK SR team, putting in some fast laps right now underway. Matt A. Kingsbury, hey, he took the feature last week. It was a bit controversial, but he did take that win and last time out. So, of course, he's got to be the hottest driver. And right now, trying to get in his second lap as he's going to pull it across the start-finish line right there. Where's that going to put him? Tentatively, it's going to put him up there into second place. It's Josh Stoltz headed out for Saucon Garage. Now, Alex, what's your strategy in these qualifying efforts? Do you go out there and just put in a banker lap, or do you try to go for a hot lap right away? What are you thinking when you're out there?
Well, for a lot of times it comes down to the car. The guys that are running the Porsches, they really love the cold tires. So those guys will come out, run one good solid pacing lap, and then they'll really turn the heat in. The Ferraris are very fast coming out, so they will also probably do just a good heavy pace round, and then they'll stick it to it. And when it comes back to those GTP cars, obviously we see Matt's there in second in qualifying, and I believe this is his first season that he's up in the GTP, so it's always good to see him up there making waves like he is now.
Yeah, certainly, and he actually switched up cars partway into the season, which kind of threw us for a loop here in our broadcast studio, but managed to get that all squared away, and now everybody's in their correct cars. Cody Cosgrove out there doing what he does best behind the wheel, putting in fast laps. There he is, holding down second right now in the pro class. And taking a look at some of the other drivers, Christian Youngwall right now fastest overall in that pro class. John Majorabanks there in third in the pro class. And again, no surprise whatsoever to see Marwan Mafta up there in the top spot right now for that AM class. It's been the Marwan Mafta show pretty much in that AM series.
Mafta's fast. He's very fast. A lot of the AM guys are begging for him to go pro at some point, just so everybody else can have somebody's in the wall there in the qualifying.
Zachary Corn there. I crashed
weekly. Corn. Well, he's living up to his name. Circling back to Mafta. Mafta is very fast. Definitely keeping the AM guys at bay. He's going to be definitely one to keep an eye on. And then Christian Youngwall and Cody Cosgrove, they've had a battle throughout this entire season, so there's going to be some really good racing in between them. And it looks like Kevin Fanning just jumped up to leading the pro drivers for qualifying.
Yeah, again, not a surprise to see these hot drivers at the top of the point standings now exchanging positions at the top of the qualifying order. So we got just about one more minute before qualifying wraps up here for round number 5 of the SIMCAR GrandAM Series for 2023 Season 2. Hope all of you out there are enjoying this live on the Too Fast Racing YouTube channel. Feel free to chime in, let us know that you're out there watching. We'll try to give you a shout out during the broadcast, but it's just great to know that you're out there watching along. Blake Reynolds still holding down that top time over in the GTP series as we have about 30 seconds remaining in this qualifying session. What are you thinking right now, Alex? If you're out there, you have just one more chance, one more hot lap, you're putting in your final lap, you're just trying to keep it clean out there. Is there something going through your mind in particular?
Normally about this point in time, if you don't have a lap that you're comfortable with, obviously you're pushing, you're trying to keep it clean. About this point in time, drivers are probably sitting here looking at their lines going, where can I make up that time? What corner can I open up? What corner can I push a little bit harder on? About this point in time, this late into qualifying, you're definitely pushing to see what limits you can test on the cars and where you can get away with a little bit more.
Absolutely. And, well, that's it. I mean, that's all you got right there. That is qualifying. So with that, let's go ahead and take a look now at your starting grid for round number 5 of the 2023 Penguin RC SIMCAR GrandAM Series. And we'll start with the GTP class. Here it is on your screen. Blake Reynolds taking your top position. Congratulations to him, back in the seat and back at the top of the grid. Starting next to him will be Brandon Lambert. And in the second row, last race's winner for the feature, Matt Kingsbury. He'll be starting next to Josh Stoltz. In that third row will be Justin Melillo and Kieran Forrest. And that is going to be your GTP starting grid. Now let's go ahead, bounce it over, and take a look at your GT3 Pro. We can get over to them. There we go. So it will be Kevin Fanning who takes pole position for the GT3 Pro. Starting alongside him will be Christian Youngwall. Starting in third position in the GT3 Pro division will be Cody Crosgrove. And then it will be John Majorabanks. Now, Marwin Mofta actually managed to out-qualify Ray Kingsbury, but of course they'll start in class. So it'll be Ray Kingsbury next, and then Brian Asta. Now we'll take a look over at the GT3 AM class, and that will be Marwin Mofta starting next to Daniel Coletta. And on the second row there will be Tim Brokaw next to Josh Ondo. On the third row will be Zachary Korn next to Zachary King. And then Kevin Bogart next to Gary Freeman, who is racing with the Too Fast Racing banner on the side pod. So great to have him out there carrying the Too Fast Racing name. But we're just about to get going here. And we are green for the GTP in round number 5. The sprint for 20 minutes. And you can see this is hot and heavy headed into turn number 1. But Blake Reynolds able to hold on and still looking good throughout. There's Brandon Lambert settling in. He's actually lost 2 positions. Josh Stoltz gaining 2 positions on that start. We take a look back into the GT3 Pro, and it's actually pretty status quo. Everybody pretty much holding together exactly where they started, so not much change there whatsoever. Marwin Mofta already climbing positions, and he is well up the order right now. We take a look a little bit further back. There's Brian Asta, who has already picked up 1 position. So Asta now climbing up into the order. And you can see Tim Brokaw actually dropping a spot there on that start. Kevin Bogart also dropping a spot. Josh Stoltz now gaining 3 spots. I think we might have had a moment. We know that Zachary Korn had an off, and I believe Kieran Forrest also had a crash. There's Forrest now trailing the group, so we'll go back and take a look at that. But Stoltz also making some passes, and we'll get another look at that here in just one moment. This is Forrest going sideways here, and then
looks like he just snagged the grass and it just came around on him.
Absolutely. Easy to do. Cold tires, of course. So let's watch Josh Stoltz, because this guy just had a phenomenal start. He's going to get by P3 right here on the start. Well, look at this start. Down the inside for Stoltz. Up into P2 right there on the start. And then he lines up a moment later. We'll jump ahead to that. Blake Reynolds just ahead, perhaps had an issue. We see Blake. There, he has that issue. Starts to get loose, he corrects. Looks like Josh almost had an issue as well, but he goes from 3rd to 1st in the very first lap. What a phenomenal first lap here, Alex, for Josh Stoltz.
Yeah, it was a very impressive run coming out of there. Definitely had a good start and just holding it there. Obviously avoiding the little hiccup that the leader was having there. And it looks like he is out there, and he is almost up to half a second on 2nd place here now.
Exactly. Well, and then just as you say that, here comes Matt Kingsbury kind of keeping it close enough that he might be able to pounce. He's got Blake Reynolds all over his tail. And right now we have some more stuff going on back here. Ray Kingsbury had a couple of off tracks. As a result, finds himself a little bit further back in the order. And Justin Melillo also having an off track. John Majorabanks also having an off track and bringing it back on. So right now, several of these drivers really having some issues keeping it on the track, but no problem in the GT3 Pro category for Kevin Fanning and Christian Youngwall. Cody Cosgrove still holding down those top spots. And even with that off track, Majorabanks able to hold on. Now look how tight this GTP battle is. Josh Stoltz right now has his mirrors filled with the BMW from Matt Kingsbury from Quokka Racing. Blake Reynolds there sitting in third with that Penguin RC GTP machine. So it's Cadillac, BMW, and Cadillac at the moment. And now it looks like Reynolds perhaps having a look down the inside. He does, and he'll take over second place from Matt Kingsbury.
These boys are out here, and they are running for it. And that is such a tight pack up front right now. Oh, we might have a move. They're checking up hard.
Yeah, you never know. That's such a great passing corner. Just depends on whether the guy in front is getting through there perfectly, opens the door for you. But Kingsbury's going to keep them honest right now, at least. And now you see Reynolds has now climbed up on the back of Stoltz. So Reynolds wants that position back. He lost it on the start. I mean, Alex, you know what it's like. You make a little mistake on that first lap, and then it's like, okay, I just want to get in there and get that position back.
Yeah, you just got to, when you drop a position like that and it's so close and you know it's a mistake that you made, you just want to hammer down and get back to the fight for sure. And Reynolds is doing just that. Knocking right on the door of Schultz and making him sweat. And he's definitely doing that for sure.
As they head down this very long straightaway into turn one, it's so very tricky to get the balance of the car right through that sequence of corners. And this, Suzuka really a tricky circuit to get exactly right. Only the very best drivers can master this track lap after lap after lap. This basically decreasing radius. S's section. Wow, look at that run that Blake has on Josh Stoltz. They're going to try to go side by side into this corner. Is it going to work? Blake has to back out for the moment, but he holds it now side by side through that series of corners. They're going to try to go side by side down this straight chute, and they're still side by side. They haven't sorted this one out yet. Josh Stoltz on the inside of the track. They make it safely through the corner. Still side by side racing here for the front of the SIMCAR GrandAM Series. And here comes Stoltz back to challenge on Blake just as he had made that pass stick. Stoltz going to try it again, and they're still side by side. Alex, this is incredible.
And these guys are just absurd with how precise they're running these cars. To keep these cars too wide all the way down the track, for the most part, it is just wild. That takes a absurd amount of precision and control, and it looks like maybe even Brandon Lambert's getting ready to make a move here if he can get the opportunity as well. But Blake Reynolds with that beautiful maneuver alongside, holding it as long as he can to get out front. It was just a beautiful, beautiful move.
Absolutely, and now he's already opened up a little bit of a gap. Now that he's managed to pull off that pass, fantastic stuff from Blake Reynolds. He may have struggled a little bit in that opening lap, but he has been the whole show here in the GTP series since that first lap, and he's managed to put himself back out front. So let's take a look back here how it's running in the GT3 Pro, and it's Kevin Fanning. I mean, this guy, he started on pole for this class, and he's still running at the top of the class. Fanning holding off Youngwall and Cody Cosgrove in third place, in class. John Majorabanks now holding down fourth. A little trickier to pass. You don't quite get the draft down the straightaways. These GT3 cars are a bit different animal.
Yeah, they are a little harder to unsettle, but they are a whole lot harder to recover to some degree. Getting a good draft run, you really have to come out of your corners very strong. And that's something that I believe Kevin Fanning is doing well. You see him when he enters the apex, he is back on it very quickly, and that's what's letting him open it up. And Kevin, being one of the oldest drivers out here, he's really showing the young guys, hey, I still got it.
It's always cool to see. It gives us all of us older duffers a little bit of hope. Oh, we appear to have had a momentary off track from Matt Kingsbury, who now drops back into fourth place. So he's dropped out of this lead battle in GT3 Pro, and it's still being held down by Blake Reynolds, who last lap set the fastest lap of the race, 1:44.51. Josh Stoltz still holding down second. Brandon Lambert there in third. Now we're having some more moments. Looks like Zachary Korn taking that machine to the garage. In the meantime, we've had a couple more off tracks here. Let's see if we can figure out exactly what happened with Korn. I know he's one of our fan favorite drivers here in the field. Gets it a little bit loose there. Still everything looking good here for Korn. Oh, it just gets sideways on him.
Yeah, it looks like he got up on the rumble strips there, and it offset the car, and it might have snapped the steering on him and threw him into the far wall. As he comes up here, we can see what's going on. He's going to come out wide. He's get on the rumble. Yeah, and that rumble just upset the rear end of the car, and it just over-rotated on him.
Well,
That Ferrari does not... The Ferraris do not care for the rumbles. They just very much just like getting up on curbs, and it's very easy to unsettle the car that way. And it looks like we just had a GTP come out of the pits. Blake Reynolds was in pits there and still came out in front of the leaders.
Did he pit? No, I'm not seeing that in what I'm looking at. They were there. See, there's the pits right there.
Okay.
But
okay.
what they're doing now is they're starting to lap this GT3 AM traffic at the moment. So this battle is hot and heavy. I mean, this is first and second right here. Blake Reynolds is just up in front, and then Josh Stoltz and Brandon Lambert only about 0.4 of a second apart at the moment. So this is second and third. And then
Lambert's doing an excellent job keeping right there, even through traffic, and just keeping that pressure there on Schultz.
He's going to make a move right now. This is down to the inside. Is it going to work? Oh, he has to go out into the dirt to pull it off, but he does pull it off. That's using all of the track that's available.
All the track and then some for sure. And they're going to be coming into traffic here, and this might break up some time. Nope, they're going to get around the AMs just fine. Definitely going to be coming in a couple more turns. The GTPs, these guys having to come through the traffic and still racing tight, that takes a lot of nerve, and what some of these guys do and how they pull it off is just beyond me.
Yeah, it's two very different things, isn't it, Alex? I know you've been driving the GT3 for the most part. Have you done much of the GTP LMP2 driving in like official racing?
I have not done them in the official racing. I have just done them on the test drives and stuff like that, and they are a wild animal. You know, the brakes are fly-by-wire, which means these brakes are so much more touchy than what most drivers are used to, and requires a whole lot higher level of precision and driving skill for sure.
So this was a replay of that pass, and what a pass it was. As Lambert goes to the outside, you can see he uses all of that track and then some to pull it off. Spectacular stuff by Lambert. But yeah, it is two very different animals, and certainly just to stay out of the way of these GTPs and the other LMP classes as they come through in the official racing and you know, of course, other leagues and things. It's a handful. And you're in the 24-hour races. You got to put up with it for a very long time. But here in this league, even just 20 minutes long for this first heat, you still got to deal with it once or twice as they continue to lap you.
Yeah, absolutely. And being in an AM car and watching these GTPs just knock your door off, you definitely puts you on edge because you'll be moving through a corner and you're not thinking much of it, and these guys just come zipping by you, and you just, you know, you got to hold the line. You know, in this league, the GT3 cars have the right of way, but at the same time, just holding your line and being cautious of the fact that there are faster cars that are coming in the corners a lot harder than you is definitely nerve-wracking some points, especially right now when you got these GTP cars and you'll be taking a turn and they dive in front of your nose. You just got to be aware of that these guys are moving, and it just adds a whole nother level to the mix for sure.
It's kind of scary, honestly. I do appreciate it when they flash lights, but even that can be a little alarming. It's so different than some of the other types of racing, this endurance racing. It takes all kinds of different skills. We've got some side-by-side racing. This is going on for the GT3 Pro class. This is for third place. John Majorabanks has caught Cody Crosgrove and now is trying to make that pass. And they bang some doors there. And it looks like, excuse me, this is Ray Kingsbury, who now moves ahead of John Majorabanks. I think Ray just giving a big wave to his good friend John there as he goes by.
Yeah, and it looks like they are definitely still at it here. Looks like we got a GTP in the middle of the mix of this battle as well. Definitely a lot of pressure between these two. Both Ray and Cody are both very good drivers. And Ray and Mayor Banks, I haven't had the pleasure of racing with John yet, but from what I know is he's definitely a damn good driver as well. Watching some of these pro guys do what they do, they're coming out and they are pushing the cars to limits that I still don't understand. I've got a little bit of time behind the seat, but some of these guys and what they do will definitely make you scratch your head. It looks like we've got Fanning out there with a very strong hold.
Oh, I believe we have Crosgrove off the track and having a big issue there. He's now dropped out of this lead battle, and perhaps that's going to let Ray Kingsbury get into it. We'll see how this works out at the end of this long straightaway. Keep an eye on that battle between Fanning and Youngwall, as we've got about 4 minutes remaining here in this session, but yeah, you can see it now. Kingsbury goes wide back here, but they did not manage to catch up to Cody. We'll see if they can do that long run. In the meantime, this is what happened to Cody just a couple of seconds ago. Oh! Getting loose onto that paint on the outside, onto the curbing, and a little half spin, and it's easy to do though, Alex.
Yeah, like I said before, these Ferraris do not like rumbles, especially on any sort of heavy load. They just unsettle so easily, and I think that's what we just saw right there again.
Absolutely is, and it just gives you even more respect for those drivers that can keep it together for the entire race. Right now looking at Kevin Fanning and Christian Youngwall. Fanning doing a fantastic job for our design, and Christian Youngwall keeping him honest, but seeing that he had a momentary off track for Youngwall, but I don't know if he's going to have enough time to get by. And I believe right now Kingsbury has had another moment out here, and that has allowed John Majorabanks to get through. Let's see what happened here just a moment ago to Ray Kingsbury. Looks like he's ahead here. And that is exactly one of the dangers of getting too far out in that corner. There's just off track, there's a whole bunch of bumps that you don't want to hit, and that's exactly what happened to Ray Kingsbury. As a result, he lost that position. Still close enough that he might be able to make a move here, but just under 2 minutes to go here in this session.
And it looks like Blake Reynolds has run away from the rest of the pack here. Almost a 5-second lead he's getting up there. Blake is definitely putting some space, showing everybody this is where it's at, for sure.
Yeah, it's again, Stoltz made some great moves on that opening lap of the 20-minute sprint, but you know, Blake got it maybe a little wrong coming through the S's, and that allowed Stoltz to get through. But after that, Blake completely corrected course, was able to get some heat back into those tires and just launch. And right now, he is showing everyone that he is going to be one tough guy to beat in this feature. Josh Stoltz now holding down third after that momentary flirtation with the lead, but not fast enough race pace to hold on to it. But now you can see Matt Kingsbury catching him in a hurry, and he may have something to say about that third place here momentarily, as we are under a minute to go here for heat number 1, which is the 20-minute sprint.
Yeah, and this style, having the sprint early definitely gives you a good feel for not only the competition, but if there's any adjustments the drivers need to make coming into the race. It definitely gives you a good time to fill it out. If you need to gain some more background in the drafting, you might pull up some of your wing. You know, making any micro adjustments after this sprint race is what's going to definitely help the drivers, and we might see some changes and some shifting in the field when those changes come out.
Absolutely, and it's a perfect opportunity during that additional practice session between this sprint and the feature. You go out, test it out, make sure you're not going to go flying off the track. But right now, checkered flag is out for Blake Reynolds when he pops around this lap. So this is going to be his final lap. And right now, 5.62 seconds, the lead, as he continues to work his way around. And this is how tight this battle has stayed for pretty much this entire race. But the top 4 in this class have not changed positions in the GT3 Pro class. It's still Fanning, Youngwall, Cody Crosgrove, and John Majorabanks, with Ray Kingsbury jumping up a spot overall, but still back there in 5th in the class. And of course, he's had a couple of off tracks as well that has taken him out of any of these battles for potential podium in this sprint race. But look how close it is. Fantastic battle happening right now between Fanning and Youngwall. And there's the checkered flag for Blake Reynolds. He pulls it across and takes the sprint race. Congratulations to him. He'll add to those points totals. There's Brandon Lambert in 2nd place. Josh Stoltz bringing home 3rd. And Kingsbury very close there to trying to get that podium position. And in the meantime, still got this one to finish up for both the Pro and the AM class for GT3. Who is it going to be? Right now, it's looking like Kevin Fanning has this one under control. We'll take a look over at Daniel Coletta, who has taken over the lead of the AM class, sitting 12th overall right now, but top in the AM class. We must have had something happen to Marwan Mafta, and I see Mafta jumping back to the pits. We'll show you that replay here in just a moment. But Brokaw now in 2nd in class, and Henry in 3rd, as Fanning makes the last couple of corners. And he will, in fact, roll across the start-finish stripe, taking victory in the sprint race here for the GT3 Pro class. And their very closely fought race for Christian Youngwall, who does some donuts there.
Looks like we got a little excited when we crossed the line.
I mean, I'd be excited too. I don't know if I'd be quite that excited for second. A little bit of
collision because we stopped right on the front straight.
bit of a collision there. But all is
And more.
all is forgiven here after the checkered flag falls. So that is going to be your finishing order. We're going to let this one finish up, and then we'll get you your final results on the screen. But it was a fantastic race certainly for Blake Reynolds, Brandon Lambert, Josh Stoltz at the top of the GT3 Pro class. And fortunately, we're going to lose that replay for Marwan Mafta, but he indeed did go off track and put it into the tire barrier, and that is why he had to retire his car. So he went from the lead to out. And Alex, I don't know. I've been racing with the SimCar series for, off and on for some time. I know Marwan, and I mean, this has been something I've seen out of him where sometimes it's checkers or wreckers where he'll lead a race for a very long time and then just something will catch him up. I mean, the reason why I know that is because I'm kind of the same way.
Yeah, Mafta's a really good competitor, and I think that he gets to a point, he just pushes and pushes, and eventually something unsettles the car, and then that ends up, hurting him in the whether it's the feature or the sprint race. I know my very first race out here, Mafta was leading the pack pretty hard, and he had something upset the car and got into the wall, and it cost him the race. But out of all the competitors, Mafta is definitely up there with everybody else. I know the battle I'm looking forward to is in between Kevin Fanning and Christian Youngwall. Youngwall coming out and have won a couple of these races, and Fanning, I believe, might have taken home one too, potentially. I'd have to go back and look. Both these guys are very fast, and I will definitely be looking forward to that battle in the pro class.
Yeah, for sure. That is coming up here tonight in the feature race, so you won't want to go anywhere. We'll have all this coverage coming up here. I misspoke. I believe it's a 10-minute warm-up in between these two. So we'll go through your running order, and we'll get you all set to go here for tonight for the feature race, which is 50 minutes long. And, of course, you saw it in that first race. Brandon Lambert of the UKSR team taking the win. No, excuse me. I'm reading the wrong screen. But I was so confused because he's one out there right now in this warm-up session setting the time. Blake Reynolds for the Penguin RC GTP team taking the win, with Brandon Lambert coming in second, Josh Stoltz in third, of course, for Saucon Garage, and then Matt Kingsbury in fourth. Justin Malillo in fifth for the FTF Drivers Club, and Kieran Forrest representing himself out there in sixth place, still on that lead lap. We'll take a look over here at the pro results. And you saw Kevin Fanning hold off the charge from Christian Youngwall. It was everything that Youngwall could do in that Quokka racing machine, but the R-Design machine of Kevin Fanning holding strong, and it's not always the same. I mean, we'll see who can do this much longer race. It's over twice as long at 50 minutes, plus you have at least one pit stop in there. So Cody Crosgrove in third place for Penguin RC Sim. And then fourth to John Majora-Banks, Ray Kingsbury taking home fifth, and Brian Asta in sixth position. And we'll take a look at the GT3 AM. Of course, it was Marwan Mafta. We just kind of put it out of our mind that he was out there in front, but apparently while we were focusing on the other exciting battles, Mafta having an issue, and as a result pulling it off the track. And so Daniel Coletta, taking that victory for Quokka Racing. Congratulations for him. Tim Brokaw in second place for R-Design. And iCrash Weekly getting up there in the results with Keith Henry. So congratulations to them. Zachary King in fourth. Kevin Bogard in fifth. Gary Freeman actually coming forward in the order and getting up into sixth place after starting pretty much at the back. And then Josh Ondo, Marwan Mafta, and Zachary Korn round out the final order there. So with that, we're going to take a momentary step aside here on Too Fast Racing. We'll be right back here in just a couple of minutes Enjoy the sights and sounds of the warm-up here at Suzuka. And myself, Trevor Greenfield, and Alex Axman will be back to call the 50-minute feature race in just a moment. Stay tuned. Welcome back, everybody. Live iRacing on Too Fast Racing on this wonderful Thursday evening in November. Hope you are having fun watching our coverage of the Penguin RC SIMCAR GrandAM Series 2023 Season 2. just finishing up in the warm-up in between the sprint and the feature race. And, of course, story of that sprint race was all about Blake Reynolds taking the win. And, of course, we'll see whether or not he can hold off the challengers in GTP. But, of course, over in the GT3 Pro, it was all about Kevin Fanning holding off Christian Youngwall. So will Stoltz have another lunge down the inside and try and take them all on the first lap? Of course, you don't win the overall race on the first lap, and that's why it's crucial to maybe not be quite as aggressive. So let's go ahead and set up the race here for the feature, as we're just now getting out there onto the grid. So here is how they will grid up, I believe. Let's see if we can get this to show correctly. Our apologies if our sim racing software doesn't quite show correctly, but hopefully it does. Blake Reynolds will be starting next to Brandon Lambert. Josh Stoltz will be starting next to Matt Kingsbury. And Justin Melillo will be starting next to Kieran Forrest in the GTP class. Of course, once again, welcome in, as we've got 50 minutes of racing ahead of us. 3 classes here in the Penguin RC Simulations SIMCAR GrandAM series. I'm Trevor Greenfield. I'm joined here in the booth by Alex Axman. And let's take a look now at our GT3 Pro class and how they'll be starting in this one. It'll be Kevin Fanning again, or will it? Starting next to him will be Christian Youngwall, Cody Crosgrove, John Majorabanks, and then Ray Kingsbury will be starting next to Brian Asta. And finally, in our GT3 AM category, it's going to be headed by Daniel Coletta, who took that first win in the sprint, next to Tim Brokaw. Keith Henry next to Zachary King. Kevin Bogart next to Gary Freeman. And Josh Ondo and Marwin Mofta. And with that, we are about ready to go here. Blake Reynolds is ready, and we're underway for the feature race, round number 5 of the SIMCAR GrandAM Series in 2023. Side-by-side into turn 1. Brandon Lambert stays side-by-side. They're still side-by-side behind, and it looks like Melillo gets it a little crossed up back there, actually dropping out of this battle, and it's Lambert who emerges in front of Blake Reynolds through turn number 1.
Yeah, these drivers opened up the gate and they said, let's get to it. Brandon making that hot move there was definitely putting some pressure out right out of the gate, and it looks like we got Kevin Fanning leading the pro class. Oh, and we got an issue there.
Oh, that is Cody Crosgrove getting sideways and backing off of the track, and he slides all the way to the back of the field. Now, he's got the speed to get back up there to the front, but what a difficulty for him to face here in the opening going of this feature. You can see Youngwall recovering nicely, still second in class, but it's Kingsbury who's now taken over third, and there's Majorabanks just behind, already looking to take that position and move up into podium territory for this pro race. Taking a look here in the AM class, it's Coletta and Brokaw, but you can see also there's Stoltz, Josh Stoltz, one of the GTP drivers who has dropped all the way back. And now he's got to work his way through the field. So
yeah, I could imagine getting all the way back and on the start and having to work back through the GT3 class is definitely going to be a struggle to try to catch up to the rest of the GTP field with an open track ahead of them.
We didn't, of course, we didn't see any incident on the track, and that is because we were not informed of it. However, Josh Stoltz had to start from the pits. So he started from the pits, exited the pits, and then has had to play catch-up ever since, trying to get through these GT3 cars. And so with that, here he goes, getting by Ray Kingsbury there, who is still holding on to that third spot in the GT3 Pro category. And now back up into the GTP class. This is Brandon Lambert, who's holding down the lead over Blake Reynolds. Matt Kingsbury now in third, Justin Malillo in fourth, and Kieran Forrest in fifth place. Really strong run for Lambert there. We'll take a look at how that all went down, but Lambert getting by on that opening lap. It's shades of what happened with Stoltz. Here we can see just how it all went down. See Lambert edging ahead there on the outside. They get very close. And in the meantime, Malillo having a big problem back there as well. And that dropped him backwards in the order. So Lambert taking over the lead. Reynolds in second. Now side by side once again for the lead on that final corner. And it's Reynolds who emerges in the lead. So Lambert takes over the lead to start the lap. And Blake Reynolds gets back in to finish it. And Coletta has now had a problem back here in the AM class. Remember, he took the sprint win, and Alex, this is rough going here for our leader.
Yeah, he's coming out. I wonder what happened here.
Oh, this was racing for the lead, I believe. Is that Kevin Bogart?
Nope, that is Brokaw. And it looks like he had his nose just in there. And Coletta, I don't know if he shut the door on him. I know Brokaw had a run in there. I'm not sure how exactly that's going to fall down the ladder, but it's definitely going to upset his race for this first early start here. Looking at this again. Looks like Coletta, not thinking anything of it, is going to dive into that turn. And Brokaw just on the inside there and gets right into the rear fender of Coletta.
Tell you what, he didn't even see it coming. Now we'll take a look here from Brokaw. You can hear him over on the right-hand side. Here comes Brokaw. He stays on the left. He just turned in, you know, and just two cars trying to occupy the same place at the same time.
Yep, and that's going to upset both of them. They're both going to have to climb back up after that incident.
Well, and a long ways to go for Coletta, who falls all the way down in class to sixth place. He's got a long ways to go. Kevin Bogart now holding down the AM class lead over Keith Henry. Tim Brokaw sits in third spot, but about a half a second lead. Actually, there you see Henry Bogart getting sideways and sliding off the track, and there is Henry getting by, so the AM class changes hands again.
Yep, and that's rough to see. I love seeing the two fast cars out there. Obviously, that's my team I race along with side, but it looks like some of the AM drivers might be having a little bit of difficulty on the track at the start of this feature here. We've had a couple incidents so far, and it looks like Kevin Fanning is on the move.
Absolutely. We're working on getting the timing bar up there, so bear with us here. Sometimes it wants to show correctly, sometimes it doesn't, so we'll have that up there for you as soon as possible. We're trying to keep you, of course, informed with what goes on here. There we go. Blake Reynolds, the top of the order for the GTP class, second for Brandon Lambert now. So Reynolds challenged in both of these races here tonight on the opening lap, but he's managed to prevail. Now, this is a 50-minute race. We're only 6.5 minutes in, and he takes... This is not a joker lap. Somebody needs to tell Blake Reynolds, but he decides to take that. I guess it's like a support series pits back there. It's what the junior formulas and things like that use to grid up back there on the smaller track. Here it's Suzuka, but Blake Reynolds deciding to utilize that. I guess he feels like he has enough of an advantage. Look at that. He even sets the fastest lap of the race having done that, 1:44.30. So maybe a little bit of showing off there, a little bit of showmanship from Blake Reynolds.
I honestly believe that he's doing it because it opens up his corner. It allows him to maintain a higher speed coming out of that corner. And that might be why he's putting down an even faster lap than what we're expecting.
That's a possibility. I mean, I've seen people do that. I never knew. I never would even think that could open up as some sort of an advantage, but leave it to Blake Reynolds to find that advantage or know about that particular advantage. And we'll have to see if anyone else gives that a shot. We'll stay with this battle for a moment and we'll be able to follow Blake as he goes through that corner here. So here he is on this backstretch, a very long backstretch here at Suzuka. Excuse me, not quite there yet. Going to be coming through 2 more corners before he gets to that backstretch. And here it opens up onto this backstretch. Now, is he going to take that again? No, he elects not to take it here. So...
I'm not sure what he's doing, to be honest with you. I mean, obviously there's...
Wow, right in front of our leaders. That is Gary Freeman having a moment right in front of Blake Reynolds. Freeman still not able to get it going, and you got to wait for that perfect opportunity here. Well, that goes from a difficult night, and this is the guy who won the first round here in the AM class. So Freeman coming through the very high-speed corner there at Suzuka and gets loose. It's a very interesting place to get loose on that exit curbing. Very high speed.
Yeah, and he was up on the rumble strips. It looks like it might have upset the car. I know the Porsche can be a tail-happy car, even with the rear motor there. And you'll see on board here as he comes in. He's going to get up on the rumble, and it just snaps over on him.
Wow, that is unfortunate stuff. I guess Gary just not really getting on with the racing at Suzuka here tonight, but looking good, though. I have to admit that car looks pretty sharp out there, the Too Fast Racing 666.
Yep, I love the paint scheme on our cars, and to come out here and race under the Too Fast name. You know, being an owner of the Too Fast Racing Discord and community, I'm happy to be here with the SIMCAR guys as well.
Well, I have more news. I believe we've had a moment here with Cody Crosgrove that has ended his race. Let's take a look at this one. We'll go on board here. Same corner that Gary had that problem. He has that exact same problem.
I think those rumbles are a little more deadly than what people are giving them credit for.
My goodness, as we get, 10 minutes into this race, and all of a sudden, 2 drivers having that exact same issue. And then, of course, Cody taking it behind the wall there to get it fixed. But rough stuff. And now Kevin Bogart is into the pits. Out of the AM lead, I believe. And that leaves Henry now in charge of the AM class. Kevin Fanning holding down the top of the order in the GT3 Pro class at the moment. Looking very solid.
Yep, he looks like he's got a comfortable lead as long as he hangs on to it. He's definitely going to make Youngwall work for it for sure. Going back to those accidents, this is almost identical to what we've seen on Homestead Miami, where there's just that one corner that I think is going to catch a lot of drivers up. Homestead Miami was turn 1 coming off the banks into the first set of turns, and then this one's coming off that high-speed straight. Maybe some of the drivers are maintaining more speed than what the cars are able to, getting up on that rumbles and offsetting it. I don't know, but it's definitely one of those that is going to be an interesting watch. It looks like our GTP leaders are in a battle coming in too wide off the backstretch.
Absolutely. You see Lambert and Reynolds in a dogfight here for the lead. Lambert had just taken that lead back, and now Reynolds surges back ahead in the Penguin RC GTP machine. Lambert in second place. We'll take a look here in just a moment at that pass that Lambert had laid down.
And he's back on the inside, and he's going to take it.
Yes, and he's trying. Is Lambert now back up into the lead as Reynolds is back into second, and they continue to thread their way through this GTP or GT3 traffic, making it very difficult to pick and choose your time to go through, and that puts Ray Kingsbury off the track. Matt Kingsbury getting through, but Ray Kingsbury having a moment there, getting tapped as I believe it was Reynolds came through and tapped him. Let's take a look at this one. This is Kingsbury just trying to mind his own business here. And he gets hit from Lambert as Lambert goes through. And again, we've been talking about this all night, Alex. It's one of the big factors of doing this multi-class racing. You know, certainly, I know Lambert tried to give him as much room as possible, but what can you do as a GT3 driver? You know, these guys are going so much faster than you. How do you give them the room that they need?
Well, you definitely have to keep an eye out for him. Obviously, I don't think that he was expecting the GTP car to be there. And it's one of those that, as a GT3 driver, the only thing you can do is hold your line. I think he was not expecting the GTP to be there, but I feel like every time I come out on the track and then I've raced with these GTP cars, you always got to be checking your mirrors just because these guys are moving so fast. And on board here, looking back at that accident, you're going to watch Ray. He's just minding his business going into his turn, and there's the GTP. So it can make it definitely can raise some hairs on the back of your neck and make you bite some nails watching some of these GTP come around you. And I know the GTPs have to give the right of way to the GT3 cars, but they're sometimes, you know, they're obviously moving a little bit faster, and you're going to get collected up every once in a while. I know I had a race and we were 4 wide going into a turn, 2 GT3s and 2 GTP cars, and it was just nerve-wracking. And I know the GTP drivers really do the best they can to get through the traffic, but sometimes it's a little bit inevitable.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those things where everybody has to deal with it, but at the same time, it's always painful anytime that you end up on the downside of it. Of course, sometimes you get lucky, and whether you like to race that way or not, you get lucky and your competition gets wiped out, or you know, one of your competition wipes themselves out while trying to make a pass. But it's never the way you want to win a race, but if you get a position that way, hey, it just is multi-class racing, so everyone's got to deal with it. And you know, Alex, I think also there's something to be said for just trying to give as much room as possible, even if you're in the middle of one of these battles. If it looks like it's going to be tight in a corner, maybe just giving a little bit of extra room just to make sure that there's not going to be any contact, even if it means you have to repass somebody or you have to reset them up for the corner. Sometimes discretion is a better part of valor in these longer races.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you get into these 50 minutes or even some of the 90-minute endurances, you know, there's a lot of race to run. Obviously, you don't want to get hooked up and caught up in an accident early on, just because that's going to really hinder your race in the long shot. So sometimes, you know, the question as a driver is, do I back out of this corner and give myself the space and potentially let the battle slip away and save the car, or do I keep pushing? And that's always a difficult split-second decision sometimes. I know as a driver coming out on this field, it's sometimes, man, when you're fighting and then it's everything within your skill level to stay right there with the other competitors. You don't want to back out when you really should. and sometimes that can lead to some unfortunate accidents, and it's just part of racing.
Everybody's trying to go for that gap. Everybody's trying to do what you can to get up onto the podium, and certainly we're watching one heck of a battle here. These two, they're giving each other enough room to race, but they are not giving an inch when it comes down to try to make the pass. We see also, I believe we have some more difficulty back here in the field. Tim Brokaw having an issue. 15th overall. Currently sitting in 4th place in class, and oh my goodness me. Sideways, off the corner, and across the track into the tire, or into the wall. That Porsche is still running, but a little worse off than it was a couple of minutes ago.
Yeah, that's a hard impact on those. Looks like he might be all right, though. I haven't seen him come into the pit yet, so he might be able to keep moving from this damage. I know the Porsches on a front impact, hopefully you don't tear steering up, stuff like that. If you smack like he did, I think right on the wall, you just kind of get some bumper damage, but you're able to stay in the race for sure. The Ferraris might have a little more difficulty with that.
Well, and in the meantime, while we were showing you that replay, we've had yet another change of position for the GTP lead. It was Blake Reynolds getting by Brandon Lambert. It seems like every other lap, these two changing positions. There's Reynolds getting a great run. And I know GTP's not your thing, but I'm just wondering, is it a thing of momentum that the GTP suddenly, you know, for a couple of laps, you've got the advantage, whether it's with the tires or with the car itself? Because
a lot of that's going to come down to how they're driving, because these cars have a hybrid system, so they do have a charge. If you're able to maintain a higher charge, it means you can leave the gate a little bit harder, and that's what might we be seeing with some of these runs. They might be pulling a little bit more charge out of it. It looks like Ondo here might have had an incident as well.
Yeah,
coming out of that long straight.
Oh, this time on the early apex side of that that corner that caught out Gary Freeman earlier. Wow. And now it's either stuck in neutral,
or he somehow got into the rear. Looks like the rear drive is locked up. That might cost him the race potentially.
That is something else. Very unfortunate.
It looks like coming out of this back straight, you're maintaining so much speed. These cars are really on the limits, and that's what's really causing these upset. It looks like on the Porsche, while he didn't get up on the rumbles like the last couple ones we've seen, he might have just had too much throttle in it. Nope, looks like he was all the way out, and then it just floated over on him. Maybe he didn't have enough rear downforce. But yeah, it looks like this back straight is going to be quite a struggle for these GT3 cars with the amount of speed they're entering the turn in.
You know, I've done some GT3 racing myself. Maybe I've just been fortunate, but I have never had that kind of a problem where it just causes a driveline problem of some sort where you lose the transmission. I'm wondering, is that something new? Is that because it looked like, I mean, he didn't back into the wall or anything. He just kind of maybe pancaked it to the side, but that's a new one to me. I haven't seen that type of damage featured here in iRacing.
I've had a couple incidents where I got sideways into a wall, and that kind of damaged up the suspension and locked up a rear drive. So I noticed it a lot more in open wheels. Obviously, with the suspension being exposed, it's a whole lot likelier to take damage. While I've never actually seen that on the Porsche, it looks like we have Matt Kingsbury might have had an issue. A little off track there in the grass. Looks like he was able to maintain it. A little off track here. Oh, and he's going to get off into the dirt. Looks like he might have unsettled the car and not able to bring it back onto the track before the turn.
Yeah, quite a big off track there. But you were saying about the damage that you've sustained here.
The damage, it's weird because I still don't understand how his rear locked up on that. I've seen it. I've had it happen to me once, sideswiping a barrier, but I don't know, man. I don't quite understand.
Well, again, it's an odd type of accident to kind of hit the barrier sideways, and yet have it produce that kind of result. So, iRacing is great. It simulates lots of things. If this had happened in real life, we'd be like, oh man, that's really unfortunate, and it is. But sometimes iRacing gets the simulation of certain things not quite right, and we all know that. We love it for its realism and everything, but it's not always 100% perfect. This is very perfect, though. This is almost halfway into this feature race, and we've got Blake Reynolds now coming into the pits, out of the lead. Brandon Lambert will inherit the lead, and Reynolds now going to head down this very long pit road here. Fantastic run there in the opening going for Lambert, but Reynolds, once again, kind of the star of the show here at Suzuka. And then you see Kingsbury following suit there, making his pit stop. And
I'm very curious if this early pit that we're seeing from Reynolds is going to help him in the long run. I know we're not quite halfway through, but we're really close. So that halfway mark might just get him that cutting edge to stay out in front. Obviously, we're expecting Lambert might be coming in here on the next lap as well.
Certainly, and it allows these drivers who are out there to circulate around and pick up some positions for the moment. Here's Forrest trying to get around one of the drivers who just came out of the pits. And now Blake Reynolds is out of the pits, as is Justin Melillo. But Matt Kingsbury still sitting in the pits at the moment. So Melillo emerges basically in second place on the track so far. But Lambert, I'm sure, as you said, Alex, is probably going to be coming in this lap. So we watch for that. And in the meantime, you can watch for where your favorite driver is on the track on the right-hand side in the track map. Just find their initials, and you'll be able to follow along with where they're at. And it looks like Lambert is going to stick out there a little bit longer.
Well, and I don't know if these cars have enough fuel to push all the way through. They might. I imagine that he's going to come in, but he might be trying to get just any extra time he can squeeze right now on the track. And if he can get out and keep that lead held for a little bit longer, give him a little bit more time to get through the pit, it might work in his favor. Pitting early might not. And he's going to get loose here, and that might be those tires getting wore out.
Well, and that could very well be him pushing hard while he's alone on the track. His last lap time of 45:37. Best lap of the race was a 45:01 for him. 44 from Blake Reynolds. And I mean, I think he may have just been pushing really hard on those older tires, and unfortunately that got him sideways. Difficult stuff, as you know how it is, Alex. You're trying to put in those hot laps when you need them, and if you do get it sideways, you've kind of just given up all of the advantage that you might have gained over Blake Reynolds. Right now, that gap down to 36 seconds, and it looks like a pit lane trip is going to cost you about 46 seconds. So right now, it looks like that little half spin may have cost him about 6 or 7 seconds on the track.
Right, absolutely.
But we'll keep an eye on that battle. In the meantime, Kevin Fanning has not yet pitted. Neither has Christian Youngwall, Ray Kingsbury. Basically, most of, actually, I want to say all of the top drivers now in Pro for GT3 have not yet pitted. So, still a bit of an interval between these drivers here. And Lambert has now made his way into the pits. I guess he finally got the notice that he needs some fresh tires on that machine.
Yeah. Yep, and what we're going to probably see too is I would expect we'll see the GT3 cars come in probably about 5 to 6 laps behind the GTP cars. what we're going to see that too. I know when the porch starts wearing out on tires, and I know Fanning's going to start dealing with this before too long. The front end starts to push through the corners. The fuel tank gets light, tires get wore out, and that front end starts pushing through the corners. It looks like we got several people leaving the pits all at the same time. Maybe a little bit of bump in there, trying to get out of pit lane.
Absolutely. You had Gary Freeman and Majora Banks all trying to leave right there as Lambert dropped down just in front of them. So Lambert back underway, and he is still sitting in second place on the track, but as Kieran Forrest has yet to make that pit stop, so he's the virtual second on the track, but Kieran's still holding down second. About an 8-second gap between Blake Reynolds in the lead and Brandon Lambert sitting in third spot. So we'll keep an eye on that battle as it continues to develop. Kevin Fanning, 2.8 seconds over Christian Youngwall in second place. And Ray
Youngwall pit now.
And he is indeed. Good catch there, Alex.
So that means Kevin's going to stay out there. I know he's got a strong lead right now. Maybe pitting early might gain him some time. We'll see here for sure.
Well, and here comes Ray down into the pits as well. So we'll see what the decision is. Certainly, these drivers, if they're feeling confident on these tires, they can stay out there for a bit longer. But Kevin Fanning, last time, was almost his fastest lap of the race. 2-minute, 0.72 seconds. And his best lap of the race at 2-minute, 0.67. Not the fastest GT3 lap. That belongs to Christian Youngwall at 2 minutes, 0.59 seconds. That's pretty amazing stuff. And as I look over at Ray Kingsbury, his fastest lap at 2-minute 4? That's...
that does look right. A 2 minute, 2 point... Yeah, 2 minute, 4 seconds.
Hard for me to believe that Ray is that far off the pace. Because I've raced with Ray a lot.
Ray is a quick driver, and a lot of these guys are coming out, and I mean they're really putting in work. And there might have been some things that we didn't catch just because of the crazy battle that we've had going on in the GTPs. And I think earlier on too, I might have seen that Asta was up in the pack and has dropped back a little bit too. So definitely going to see a little bit more of what these drivers are doing. The early pits might work out for them, getting on fresh tires and being able to push a little bit harder. We'll definitely have to see how it shakes down here in the next couple laps.
Well, and we've had a few incidents, really. Here's one incident for Gary Freeman, who goes off track, loses some time on to a couple of drivers. There he manages to pull it back on the track. And then here was Daniel Coletta, the guy who, once again, took our sprint race, sitting us, I believe it was third in class at the time. Still currently second in class, but wow, what a save there from Coletta as he almost bought the farm just like Gary Freeman did. But he manages to hold on to it and keep that thing on track and point it in the right direction. What a heck of a save. Let's take a look one more time at that one. Did end up losing the position, but what a save here at very high speeds in this GT3 machine.
Yep, and he's going to get what we've seen before. He gets up on the rumbles, and it just upsets the car. But what a beautiful save, getting back in that steering, getting it corrected, and getting back on the tracks safely. That's a very, very good recovery, and good on him. That's not easy to do.
These are not dirt racing machines, so they're not meant to be driven and steered through the dirt, but really fantastic stuff there from Coletta to get it corrected. Now, this is Keith Henry right now sitting in 11th place. He's at the top of the charts as far as the... He's got the class lead right now for the AM class.
Yep, and he's going to have to work around traffic. Looks like Kevin...
Oh, my
what a
goodness.
move by the GTP.
That was Kingsbury.
Yep, and that looks like that was going to throw Kevin Bogart there off the track. I don't think Kevin was ready for the GTP to make that move, and I think he felt like his line just closed up on him.
Yeah, Bogart, that was unexpected. We'll see if we can take a look at that one more time here. You see Kingsbury approaching in the background.
He's going to jump to the inside, and that leaves Bogart no room to turn in whatsoever. So his line, he lost his line. It's going to force him to go wide. There's not much Kevin can do without getting into the GTP car there.
Rough go of it for Kevin Bogart, and we'll watch on board one more time. And we talked about what it's like to have this class traffic trying to get around you. I think this is exactly what you're talking about, Alex. I mean, you have no idea what's going to happen here. And, oh, there is a tap there from Kingsbury.
And on board, I mean, because on board you're sitting there and you're looking in your rearview mirror, and it's like, okay, I've got, the AM leader behind me, and I don't even see the GTP. And then next thing you know, there's a GTP right next to me going into the turn, and looks like Matt is definitely pushing hard to try to catch back up. Definitely getting into corners, and definitely probably giving these GT3 drivers a little bit of a scare.
Yeah, Matt is now at the back of the GTP field at the moment, so he is having to play a lot of catch-up. But he's had a number of off-tracks that I can see through the course of the race. Now, just a moment ago, we did have a pass as Kingsbury got by Majora Banks. I'm not sure if Majora Banks had an off-track. Yes, he did.
And he looks like, he might have saved it. It's hard to tell. Oh, and there's a little bit of collision there, right on that turn as well. Well, that's hard to predict coming in.
And then we're going to play this replay, but we've since had another incident on the track. This is what happened to Majora Banks.
And he got up on that rumble. That rumble is doing it for drivers. And a good... he got in the wall a little bit, but a pretty good save. Might have some tore-up suspension.
Well, and this was not much later, right after we showed you that pass that Kingsbury made. Here's Kingsbury. A self-spin there, and it looks like John Majora Banks taps him as he comes through. It's one of these, it's basically a hairpin corner on this track. Very slow speed. Difficult to get set up for and get through it. Carry as much speed as you can. Now Majora Banks into the pits. So this is going to be his second time through the pits, and this is going to really cost him. Perhaps he's getting some damage repaired on that machine, but this is not what Majora Banks wanted to see happen, as perhaps he's taken on just too much damage to make it through tonight successfully. Christian Youngwall, however, still holding down the front in his Quokka Racing Ferrari. Number 55 out in front by 0.7 of a second. So still, it's still a possibility for Fanning, as Fanning is starting to clip into this lead.
Yep, and what it looks like is Youngwall came in early for the pro class. He pit before Fanning. Fanning stayed out, and it looks like Fanning must have come back out of the pits, and that's where the position change happened. So both the drivers are going to be on fresh tires. Fanning going to be a little bit new on the tires, but it's definitely going to be a close battle here now. Both the drivers, new set tires, full fuel, and ready to just give it hell.
Well, just on lap times alone, these two very close, and I think this is going to be a move setting up right now for Fanning, possibly into turn number 1. Is he going to think about it? Yeah, he's going to give Youngwall something to think about here. As he continues through this course, he's going to pick and choose where he wants to make that pass, but he has closed right up on the back of the Ferrari for Youngwall.
And what we're going to see too, the Porsche is probably going to maintain the S's very well. It's one of the few cars you can get it up on the curbs just a little bit. It's a little bit harder to unsettle the Ferraris up on the curbs. They really don't care for them. So that might give Fanning just a little bit of edge. He can get on the curves and try to squeeze as much of the track room out as possible. Except for, I think what we're watching right now might be a little bit reversed. It looks like Youngwall is getting up on the curves. Fanning staying on the flat part here. And we're watching Matt there in the forefront getting a little bit of hot in the turn while these guys are battling it out. Watching the GTP cars zip around here. You know, definitely in a battle, you're focused on just staying right behind the lead driver. Ooh.
Almost into the back of him. Has to take evasive action. Fanning not quite getting the braking into that section exactly right. But it didn't cost him too much. Some good evasive action, and he's able to get it going again.
Well, and that action right there keeps both the drivers in the race. A good save on his part.
Well, what a fantastic battle between these two so far at the top of this GT3 Pro class. Let's take a look back, though, because third overall right now is Keith Henry. He made his pit stop on lap number 11, but he is holding down third overall. Coletta still fourth overall at the moment, and Brokaw fifth overall. Those are 3 AM drivers. But Henry right now sitting in podium position even for the GT3 Pro class, but here he is winning the feature race at the moment for the GT3 AM class. So good stuff from Henry at iCrash Weekly.
Yep, and this is Henry's first race out here with us in the SimCar League. So it's good to see, you know, a new driver coming out here saying, hey, never been here, but I'm down to put my work in, and he's doing just that for the first time out here in the Penguin RC SimCar League. And it's good to see the iCrash guys putting in work. No, I haven't had the pleasure of meeting Keith yet, but it's good seeing you know, new fresh faces on the track and bringing some even tougher competition in here.
Yeah, always great to get new competitive drivers in, and sometimes it's mid-season, sometimes they start the season, sometimes it's the very last race of the season, but either way, if you're out there right now and you're watching this race and you're thinking, hey, this sounds like a great league, I would love to get involved with the Penguin RC SIMCAR GrandAM series, just make sure to ask about it on iRacing. You can go through and find the league there. There's also a Discord that's available for all of the drivers, participants here in the series. And of course, you know, it is a fantastic league that you can join at any point and be a part of. We'd welcome you in with open arms. Of course, wrapping up this season here pretty quickly, so only a few races left of this season, but then we'll be getting into the next new season, and you know, it's good to get in maybe for the last couple of races of the season, get in some practice before, you know, get to know everybody, they get to know you before you start trying to really go after those points starting in the new season. But Kingsbury having another off track for a second. Take a look at that one. This is Matt Kingsbury, who got by Kieran Forrest not long ago. Take a look at this off track, how severe it is. Some of them less severe. That one, just a little excursion out through the grass. Scrub some of that dirt off the tires, and he gets back going again.
Yep, it looks like we've got 3 races left in the Penguin RC SimCar League here. We have Gilead, which is going to be our next race. And then we are taking a trip over to COTA, which is Circuit of Americas, and the final race is going to be at the Red Bull Ring. So 3 races left in the season. I know there's a couple teams that are more than happy to pick up new drivers. A lot of the guys that come out and race, even the guys such as Brokaw was also a good instructor. Kevin Fanning's always good. Both the Kingsbury gentlemen are both brothers racing in the league, or both are great at, getting new drivers in, helping teach lines, anything that they can give you to help you be faster on the track. Everybody's done a good job at bringing people in and supporting. These guys have taught me a lot coming out here and racing and doing all that. It looks like we might have had a little bit of a checkup there.
Yeah, and we had a pass on track. Josh Stoltz getting by Justin Melillo for third podium position here in the GTP class as they encountered, I can't tell if that was Youngwall, but it looks like it was possibly Christian Youngwall there. And just as that's going on, Melillo gets passed on track by Stoltz. Go back to the live picture, and we had another moment for the Too Fast Racing driver, Gary Freeman. He's been having quite the adventure out here in Suzuka, driving through the Japanese rural farmlands.
Yeah, but it looks like he got up on the rumbles and upset the car. I know that's been kind of a struggle for this track. I don't know if the rumbles are any more aggressive than the other tracks. I didn't get the opportunity to experience this track, but while they can be used to extend your line and get you faster, it's definitely a risk versus reward. Sometimes it upsets the car and can cost you some time as well.
Well, and then Justin Melillo having this problem. Off track, back on track, and then, whoops. That's the danger of getting the previous corner incorrect, is that it sets you up a little difficult to get through the next corner. So Melillo manages to recover, and back underway he goes. In the meantime, just over 5 minutes remaining here in this feature race. It's been a fantastic one so far, with Blake Reynolds holding down the top of the GTP class. He got passed on the opening lap again for the second race in a row, but he managed to recover, and by the end of the first lap, he was back in the lead. But then Brandon Lambert has had all kinds of opportunities. He's gotten back by Reynolds, and Reynolds has gone side by side with him through much of the opening part of this feature race. But it's been all Blake Reynolds for the most part in the back half of this feature race, and he continues to cruise a full 10 seconds ahead, as Lambert, when he was in the lead while Blake Reynolds had made his pit stop, Lambert now encountering some real difficulty getting around this GT3 machine. But Lambert had gotten about a half spin in, and that's really what's responsible for 10 seconds, of this 22-second gap as it exists right now. And it's another 31 seconds back to Josh Stoltz. Stoltz is, he flirted with being up in the lead of this race, at least in the sprint, but unfortunately hasn't quite worked out pace-wise for him to stay up with everybody here in the feature. And just as I said that a couple of laps ago, Blake Reynolds setting the fastest lap of the race, just to put an exclamation mark on tonight, a 1:43.77 for Blake Reynolds. So, it's been all Blake Reynolds here at Suzuka in terms of pace, and even Lambert's attempts to try to stay out there have been for nothing, because nobody can seem to keep up with him here in the GTP class. Melillo holding on to fourth, and Kingsbury and Forrest having their difficulties here tonight. Christian Youngwall has been absolutely stellar. Fanning had his number in the sprint race, but Youngwall has triumphed here in the feature. Youngwall with a fantastic run and currently sitting up there in the top spot. He's got a a solid second lead over right now over Kevin Fanning, but you know, it seems to be staying at a second, and that really has been the advantage to Youngwall here tonight. We'll see whether or not Fanning can try to give it one more lunge here before the bell, but right now it is all Christian Youngwall. Fanning in second place in the GT3 Pro category. Keith Henry is currently running 9th overall, and the top of the AMs with Daniel Coletta just behind him, about 5.7 seconds down the road. Coletta has had his moment here. He had a spin, and that let a lot of these drivers go by, but Henry has been absolutely fantastic in the AM class, and for his first race out here in the Penguin RC SIMCAR GrandAM series, this is just a fantastic debut. So what a pleasure to be able to call his race here, and perhaps there'll be much more to come from Keith Henry. Tim Brokaw in third place in the AM class, and our third place for the pro class is looking like it's going to be Brian Nasta, as everyone else is pretty much off track at the moment for the pro class. So if Asta can just keep it running out there, he's going to end up with a podium position here in the GT3 Pro class.
Well, and that's good to see for Asta too. I know he's had some difficulties early on in the season, so coming in on a podium for this race is definitely going to be good for him. And it's good to see Coletta's back to recovered. I believe Coletta had a spin out incident at the very first start of this. Actually, him and Brokaw had an incident, and I think that's what's caused their gap to Henry. But it's good to see that both these drivers are still out in the field and hunting for positions.
Well, and something else to call attention to, as we're just under a minute to go here at Suzuka for round number 5. It's the guys that try to make progress here in the field, the guys that, you know, race in and race out. They go out there, they give it their all, and it's about surviving in these longer feature races and the endurance races, because a lot of the faster drivers, maybe than Zachary Quorn, I mean, he's still able to do 202, so he's putting in good laps, but lots of faster drivers out there, hey, they've already crashed out. John Majora-Banks, he's out of the race. Zachary King, he's out of the race. Josh Ondo, he's still out there sitting in the pits, but he's out. Marwan Mofta didn't make it into this feature race, and, you know, as a result, Korn is sitting in 4th place in the AM class right now. So, you know, it's all about just, you know, doing your best, and here he is, possibly going to take a look at Brian Asta. This would be passing the 3rd place pro driver.
And this is going to be an interesting turn here, going too wide into the turn. And it's good maneuvers on both parts of the drivers, and it is going to give Korn that position here. And it looks like these guys are really giving it their all right now, making these moves. And I am surprised with that move out of the long straight, but it looks like it worked out in Korn's favor, and he's going to take the lead over Asta. And it looks like Blake Reynolds might have had an incident there.
Well, this is the last.
Gotten a little loose.
This is the last lap of the race, I believe. I don't believe he's gotten the checkered yet. So that was kind of scary there for Blake, who does not want to throw away this race win on the very final lap. And Brandon Lambert, sitting in 2nd place, just set the fastest Sector 2 time of the race, but 26 seconds back. He's nowhere close enough to do anything with that. And in the meantime, as he goes through that support series pits again, we'll take one more look back here. This is how close this GT3 Pro class race is right now. They're going to have a lap to figure this one out. But Blake Reynolds just about to bring it across the start-finish stripe as he exits the final corner. This is going to be both races here tonight for Blake Reynolds, and it's very possible he's going to take over this championship lead at the end of tonight. Brandon Lambert hanging on for second place in the GTP class. Josh Stoltz going to be able to hang on for third, but this is the race we all want to see. This is for GT3 Pro. Youngwall and Fanning racing it out to see who is going to take the win.
Right, and we've seen Kevin Fanning hold Youngwall off for the sprint, and looks like Youngwall got around, and Fanning has to either close the door and make a move, or it's going to be it for him, and he is definitely tightening the gap as much as he can here, trying to find any sort of leverage he can on this Porsche to get around the Ferrari. I know the Ferraris are very fast, and it's going to be one heck of a battle finishing up here.
Well, and he still has this very long straightaway, but he's just a little bit too far back. Youngwall pulls the left side of the straight to break any sort of toe that he might have. Fanning tries to take as much curb as he can. Just 2 more corners to go. Is he going to be able to get it stopped in time? He's not going to be able to have enough time on the track to get it done. It will, in fact, be Christian Youngwall who will take the victory here over Kevin Fanning. Kevin taking the sprint, and Youngwall able to take the feature. What a fantastic run there for Youngwall, who takes the feature race. Congratulations to him. Keith A. Henry, excuse me, having a debut race to remember, able to take victory for the AM class. Congratulations to him.
And finishing third overall in GT3.
Absolutely fantastic. I mean, that's just amazing stuff to see an AM driver able to do that. It's that's why you come out here and you race. Fantastic stuff for him, and certainly what a return to the cockpit for Blake Reynolds. We're going to take a momentary break here on Too Fast Racing, and we'll be back with your final results and a chat with your top 3 finishers. Stay tuned here. We'll be right back. And welcome back here on Too Fast Racing. I'm Trevor Greenfield, joined alongside by Alex Axman, who stepped out of the cockpit for this race to join us here. And you saw a great race. We didn't think it was going to necessarily be Blake Reynolds, as Brandon Lambert had a great go of it, and Josh Stoltz had a great run of it in the sprint race. But it was Blake Reynolds who not only took the win, but he did it in stylish fashion, taking it by over 20 seconds. Blake Reynolds, your winner for the Penguin RC GTP team here for round number 5 in GTP. Brandon Lambert bringing it home in second place. Josh Stoltz there in third. Justin Malolo in fourth. Matt Kingsbury, an adventuresome evening, finishing in fifth. Kieran Forrest in sixth position. And let's take a look at the pro results. Christian Youngwall finishing at the top of the order. It was a great race between him and Kevin Fanning in the sprint. It was great to see it here in the feature, but this time it was Youngwall who wins out in the feature, taking that victory for Quaco Racing over the R-Design machine of Kevin Fanning. Third going to Brian Asta. Fourth to Ray Kingsbury. Fifth to John Majorbanks. And sixth place to Cody Cosgrove. Taking a look over at the AM results. It's Keith Henry in his very first race here in the Penguin RC Simulations SIMCAR GrandAM Series in the AM class, able to take that victory for iCrash Weekly. Congratulations to him in his debut. We'll get a chance to chat with him hopefully here in a moment. Daniel Coletta finishing in second place. Tim Brokaw in third. Zachary Korn manages to pull in a fourth place finish. Congratulations to him. Kevin Bogart finishing in fifth. He was running up at the top, but unfortunately had some incidents. Gary Freeman manages to recover from the back to finish in sixth, but not the type of night that he would want. Had a couple of off tracks in there as well. Zachary King finishing in seventh. Josh Ondo in eighth, and Marwin Mofta finishes it in ninth place. So with that, we're going to see if we can pull in some of these drivers. And Alex, you were telling me there's been some protests filed, so this may not be your final results after everything is worked out.
Yeah, it looks like there might be a little bit of discrepancies. I don't think any of them are race ending. There might be just some penalties handed out after this one, but we'll see how it comes out. Not sure yet, but we'll know here before too long.
I'm gonna guess that Noodle King is gonna be Keith Henry.
Yes, sir. Yep, I just went and confirmed that.
All right, well, we appreciate it. All right, well, let's go ahead and bring him in. He finishes at the top of the AM class for GT3 in his very first race here in the Penguin RC Simulations SIMCAR GrandAM Series. Congratulations, Keith Henry, taking the win here in the AM class. Congratulations, man.
Hey, man, dude, it's been awesome. I've watched you guys and been watching, iCrash guys run with you, and I was like, let me step in this week. We were down a guy, so I figured I'd jump in. I did not expect to come in and take the, AM class victory on that one. I'm really shocked,
Well, not only did you take the AM class victory, you placed third in overall GT3 class.
Oh, that's a little bit more.
Well, that's some amazing pace. I mean, Keith, what do you have to say of it? As Alex just said, I mean, you come in here in your first race, you're setting some good times. Is this something you think you can continue? Do you normally run like this in other leagues, official racing?
You know what? This is actually my first league race. I don't really do anything. I ran dirt about a year ago, and that was it. And I started GT3, and you guys are my first league race that I've ran.
Well, that is great news to hear. And so tell us about your race. I mean, how did it all unfold for you here in the feature? Did you make some changes before the feature getting in, or were you pretty happy with what you had in the sprint?
I was very happy with what I had in the sprint. It just getting used to the new setup and everything. It was fun. It was great. It felt a lot better and more stable coming around a couple of the corners. I could hold more throttle into it and keep it, wide open and carry the speed through it, which was awesome. But other than that, it was basically I just wanted to get into a comfortable pace, and I figured I'd fall in where I was meant to be. I wasn't going to push too hard, just run what I do, and I ended up here.
Well, it was an amazing run for you tonight, and of course, we'll look forward to seeing you again out there for iCrash Weekly and put on a great show with the rest of your teammates out there in the AM class. Who do you want to thank for tonight's run to the top here in the Penguin RC Simulations SIMCAR GrandAM?
Penguin RC and SimCard for inviting me and letting me race with you guys. Gary, the lawnmower over there, for throwing the invite out there, and the guys at iCrash for just having fun. I mean, these guys are awesome, and you guys have been a great host as well.
Fantastic run here tonight. I'm sure we'll see you out there for our next couple of races, and I don't know where you go from here, but it's been a stunning debut. So once again, congrats, Keith, and good luck with the rest of the season here.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
So that is Keith Henry. What a fantastic run for him, finishing at the top of the order there. And I tell you, Alex, that was something special. But why don't we go ahead and we'll bring in, I think you've had a chance here, Alex, to catch up with Christian Youngwall, who took the win in our GT3 Pro category.
Yeah, Christian, you've been just a magnificent force throughout the season. Was there anything different you did coming into this race, or how were you feeling?
Honestly, I particularly don't like Suzuka. I'm not really sure why, so I wasn't looking forward too much to drive. I mean, I always seem to have a good race with either Kevin, Ray, or one of the guys, but turned out to be really good racing between me and Kevin. I mean, we were within a few seconds, I think, the entire race, and then it came down to just the pits. I decided to just do 2 tires, because usually you could take 2 for free with fuel. And I saw Kevin took 4, which he, within like 3 laps after pitting, caught back up to me, but he just never got the chance to get around.
Yeah, and you had a real close battle with him during the sprint race. What ended up changing between the sprint race and the feature race? Was there any changes you made, or a different maybe strategy walking into it?
I don't think I'd really particularly changed anything. I knew I was gonna try, if I could stay behind him, I was gonna try to save fuel, but he was, I think, ultimately a faster driver. Just unfortunately didn't. At the end, the pit stop came down to it, because I mean, before the pits, he was, I think, about 2.5 seconds ahead of me. So he definitely was quicker and stuff. So I think strategy-wise, I think the first race, I think, could have been anyone's game, depending if we made a little slip up, and I definitely made a big slip up at the end. Thank God I didn't put it into the wall, but yeah, I think it just came down to a lucky pit stop. I didn't think he was going to take 4. I thought he was going to take 2. So when I saw that I was next to him coming out of the pits, pretty happy about that.
Well, and it was just a beautiful battle watching you two go at it, and just in the fight that you had. Definitely the fight over not even 50 minutes, almost 70 minutes of racing, just back and forth between you two. It was just one hell of a fight, and congratulations on yet another win in this season.
Thank you.
Anybody that you'd like to thank for your run here tonight, Christian?
I guess just thanks for you guys for being here. Thanks for, I guess, all the guys at SIMCAR, and just enjoyed my time. So thanks for having me.
Absolutely. What a fantastic run from yourself there, Christian, and you continue to be a front runner here in the pro class. We look forward to seeing what you can do with the rest of the season.
Thank you.
So that is Christian Youngwall, and Alex, beautiful interview there. Really appreciated that. We'll go ahead and jump over to our winner of the GTP class. This was something else to watch from this guy who came back here tonight from being out of the cockpit, and just an absolutely fantastic job as he returns to action. We missed him last race, but this race he comes back, and the first lap in the sprint, Blake, Josh managed to jump you as you had a little bit of an issue. Perhaps it was cold tires, you can tell us. And then in the feature, you had your hands full with Brandon Lambert, but it was your night out there. Congratulations, well done, and a very well-earned victory.
Yeah, that first lap, I took fuel out because that race is shorter, and it just upset the balance of the car pretty bad. So, yeah, and these cars, for some reason, it's much faster to start at a lower pressure because it makes it faster later, but the tires do not work until they get to like 24 psi. I mean, we're starting at like 22, and then on the cool down lap, or on the warm-up lap, it's down to like 21.5. So pretty cold tires. Yeah, they don't work very well at the start. Yeah, so that's what happened. And Josh, I think, just had full fuel in it, so his car pretty much worked from the get-go. And then yeah, I like this track. I've run Formula 1, GT3 when they had the endurance here. I've done all sorts of races here, but never done prototype. So this is the first time, and it's pretty much a blend of a GT and an F1 car. Essentially, is what a prototype is. So yeah, that was fun.
Well, you were side by side with Lambert in a lot of those turns, and you guys were just neck and neck there for a lot of them. What was going through your mind as you were going too wide through these turns? Was there anything running through your head trying to get around this and how to come out of it cleanly?
Oh, just race the hell out of them. I mean, that's all I can do, Me and Brandon, obviously, we're admins. We're both, I would say, we're pretty good. I know what he can take, and I think he knows what I can take. So I like to throw everything I got at him, see if he doesn't die. Yeah, I know we had a 3-wide instance out of turn 2, I think it was, with Dan. It was one of those black Ferraris, and I didn't want to be a pick, so I initiated the middle 3 move when he tried dooring me to turn 3. But it was all in good fun. Also, I found out in this race that you could full throttle the backstretch pit road and not lose any time because of the hybrid in the car.
Okay, because we were questioning that when we seen you jump over there, and we're like, was that actually picking up time for you, or what was that? Just you were doing it just because you could?
It wasn't picking up time, but it wasn't losing time either. So,
It just was something to do then.
Yeah, I'm
Didn't
just
have
like,
enough turns on the track. Add an extra 2 then.
Yeah, I was in the sprint race, I think, and I had just passed Josh, and I was telling Josh, I have a really dumb idea, but it'd be good to learn in the sprint race if it works. He's like, well, why don't you just wait till the warm up? After this, I'm like, nah, that seems kind of boring. So I just full throttled it, and it worked.
Wow.
Well,
Good stuff.
Yeah,
well, you
it
definitely put some pressure on. Finishing 26 seconds ahead. Excuse me. You definitely, once you got out of the traffic, got out on your own drive, clean air, you definitely put the heat on everybody. That's for sure.
Yeah, good stuff. Good finish for the Penguin RC. I forget what my team's called. I think it's just Penguin RC Simulation. But I've got the purple variant on my car. It's a good warm up for Saturday. We're running an M-Tech. It's a 6-hour race, so it's always good to warm up in SimCar the Thursday before when we have a race on Saturday. And yeah, thanks to you guys for broadcasting Too Fast for the sponsorship. Trevor, you're a fantastic broadcast.
Thank you.
Alex, thank you for, I guess, subbing for commentary. Are you racing anymore?
I am racing. I missed the last race because of my knee, and then I filled in for commentary. I think we were short on commentators, so I said, heck with it. Let's go step up in the booth, see what happens. And I know sitting up here watching things unfold gives me a whole new perspective to when I'm back in the cockpit again.
Cool. Thanks for what?
I mean,
Sorry.
Blake, I just gotta say, it was so much fun to be able to call a race with you. Of course, I ran with you at MTech, and we ran at some other stuff together. But man, you put on a class out there tonight, and you and Lambert were the class of the show. Hopefully, we get Flynn in here for one of these shows as well. He always seems to keep you honest out there, but. What a dominant display at the end of this one, and you managed to put in a time that was faster by almost a full second than Lambert, 143.77 to his 144.73. It's not all about hot lapping, but once you're able to recover and put that thing forward, once you're solo on the track, there was just no matching you out there. So congratulations, and I believe you'll probably take over the GTP points lead. It's got to feel pretty good. What are you thinking about the end of this season?
What am I thinking? Well, next race we have our endurance. That'll be on FTFGG, sponsored by Too Fast, I believe. We'll have to figure that out. 2 weeks though, we got plenty of time. Yeah, that should be a good race. I did an IMSA Endurance, the official series, at Montreal. And that was a 2-hour, 40-minute race, and that was the most fun multi-class race I've done in a long time.
At Montreal.
Montreal, yeah. I did not think it was an endurance track, but it's just chicanes and straightaways, so it really works pretty well for multi-class.
Well,
these cars are fairly slow in the chicanes compared to the GT3. They're not that much slower.
I was looking at the whole schedule, and that is the one that I had a question mark on because there's a lot of walls on that track. It can get very close very quickly, even in like a Formula One car or something. But as you said, that's our next race up, and we won't be carrying that on Too Fast Racing. But again, you get a chance to see that over on the other network. And good luck there And then you'll be back here on Too Fast Racing for Coda, and then the final race of Red Bull Ring. Blake, fantastic to have you on here. Fantastic to see you able to take victory here tonight. We'll see whether you can stay out there and take another victory next time out, because I know a lot of these drivers are trying to gun for you. But great race tonight. Good luck for the rest of the season, my friend.
Yeah, thank you.
So that is Blake Reynolds, who takes victory in the GTP class and overall. And Alex, this was a heck of a fun race here tonight for round number 5 of the Penguin RC Simulations SIMCAR GrandAM series. What are your final thoughts before we close this one out?
Well, I think we've seen some really good battles. Obviously, the drivers were pushing really hard. We've seen a couple drivers that were having some difficulties. That high-speed straight coming in that turn really shook up the field more than I think what everybody was planning on. But, seeing Christian Youngwall, Kevin Fanning, Blake Reynolds and Lambert, watching them guys go at it door to door, and then, watching new drivers make their debut and have a good running, seeing Keith Henry. I think overall, it was a beautiful race. First time up in the booth, and I really enjoyed it after being on the track. Almost makes me not want to go back to the track and sit up in the booth with you.
Of course, we'll welcome you with open arms here.
Yep. Overall, beautiful racing, really good competition, and this has been a riot.
Well, appreciate you stepping in, Alex. It was a lot of fun, and of course, as we mentioned, for all of you who are the diehard SimCar fans out there, next race is going to be race number 6 from the Gilles Villeneuve circuit. It'll be a 90-minute endurance. It'll be over on ftf.gg, so make sure to head on over there. It'll be November the 30th. Then right back here for round number 7 on the Too Fast Racing Network. It'll be December 14th at the Circuit of the Americas for the 20-minute sprint and 50-minute feature. And then the final race of the season on December 28th. It'll be on ftf.gg. Or no, I'm sorry. Actually, we will.
No,
are we covering that one?
We'll be back here on Too Fast Racing, I believe.
I'll have to look at that one. Either way, next one's going to be on ftf.gg. On behalf of myself, Trevor Greenfield, Alex Axman, all the competitors, the admins here in the Penguin RC SimCar GrandAM series, we hope you enjoyed tonight's broadcast. Make sure to like this video and subscribe if you're not already a subscriber on Too Fast Racing. Look forward to seeing you back here on this network in a few weeks. In the meantime, for those of you that are stateside, enjoy Thanksgiving. Give all of your blessings. Spend your time with your family if you can. And we will look forward to seeing you next time here on Too Fast Racing. Till then, so long, everybody.